Alright, welcome back. Hope everyone's having a lovely day, a lovely night, wherever you're from. And real quick, before we get started, I want to give a lovely shout out to the channel members on this channel. So thank you so much to these lovely commanders here that you see on screen. Thank you guys so much for your guys' extra generosity and your support. It always means a lot to me, so thank you so much. And if you're actually interested in becoming a lovely commander yourself, if you are interested in any of these cute and lovely emotes, loyalty crown badges, if you want a special role in the Discord, make sure to join the Discord. But as always, if you choose to do so, thank you so much. Just remember that's not the only way that you can support me. Watching the content like you are right now is truly the best way. Liking, subscribing, commenting, everything really does help. So thank you guys so much. And for today's video, just like always with every one of these banners, we always like to look at what the community consensus is. And there are so many ways to look at it. If you're new, we look at the community ranking tier list to see, if we agree with them, what we think about them, and compare them. There are so many. We usually use Pridewin. There's the JP tier list, Nikke.gg. There's Loot and Waifus by Sephi. Lovely guy. Go check him out. Go check his channel out. Lovely guy. But for this, we're always going to be just comparing Pridewin, and we're going to be comparing the JP tier list. The JP tier list is very different, so I'll explain that later when we get to it. But first things first, let's actually pivot to Pridewin. And right here, we're already here at the home, so we're just going to go to the tier list, changelog, and then we see Quincy Escape Queen has been added. And then it says right here, we have removed the boss ads tier list after receiving a lot of feedback. The split between solo and boss ads only brought a lot of confusion. So we decided to remove the ads bossing tier list just to keep a single bossing tier list moving forward. We also are working on revamping the story and PvP tier lists, so expect big changes to happen there soon. Interesting. I play PvP. I don't really know like the ins and outs. I just use what's good, right, for the meta. I don't really know the ins and outs of it. I'm definitely interested to see what they do, and I like seeing that they're taking in the feedback for that. I'm excited to see PvP though. But we're only here to talk about Quincy, so let's get started. And when it comes to Quincy, we're just going to go from high deficit story. Low deficit would probably be like the beginning story. High deficit is later on, so late game story. And we're just going to use this as like a basis. And we're just going to go from here and see if we get surprised or not. And for me, I'm going to guess it. I'm going to say that at least it's going to be S ranks. I don't think she's going to be an A tier because I think she's better than A tier, but I don't think she's going to be anything crazy. So I think S tier is a good spot for her. Let's see. She is a burst 3. So look at this right side here, and she's not SSS. She's not SS. There she is. There's our girl. So what are we thinking? What are we thinking? Are we going to get S across the board? Some SS? What are we thinking? Let's see. And so she is story low deficit, story high deficit, and then bossing S tier. And then she's actually SS in PvP. That's actually interesting. I didn't know that she would actually be that good for PvP. Now, if you don't know, real quick, I'll just like quickly change it. But the PvP meta looks completely different. Like, this is the PvP meta in terms of like units and stuff that you'd probably want to invest in. So the fact that she's here is interesting. So I might have to swap some stuff out and try it, because I have like a random team 1. So I wonder if I could make this work. So that's cool. But anyway, back to talking about Quincy. I'm actually interested in your guys' thoughts about the whole bossing change though. Because before they used to have ads and solo bosses. So there used to be 2 categories. So one for a solo boss and then one with ads. Now, I don't know how to feel about it just yet, because if I remember correctly, I think they put solo bosses at SS. So now they're trying to round it out at having just an S, overall ranking. So I think I like it just because it's, it kind of makes everything a bit easier. I think what they have to do though is in these pros and cons, they're going to have to describe why, that ranking is for bossing. Because maybe certain characters will be good for solo bosses, but if there are any additional raptures, her skills can like really fall off. So they might need to explain that. But overall, I'm not that annoyed about this. I don't mind this change. But let's actually get a good look at the pros and cons here. For an SMG, Quincy has a versatile range thanks to her self-buff, hit rate, and her screen wipe. She can also hit cores comfortably with proper investments. That's true. She has very good hit rate. And even if you give her good investments, she really doesn't need that much hit rate. Maybe 1 or 2 if you're really that caring, but honestly, like elemental damage, max ammo is probably the way to go. One of the better water DPS in the game, which is rare, so she has very little competition. So if you don't know, in terms of water DPS, there really isn't much competition, unfortunately. I feel like the best highlight that we could talk about at DPS water right now would probably be Winter Ludmilla. Winter Ludmilla is great. She's amazing, but she is very kind of niche in terms of like a water, because there's not that many water DPS in this game. Water DPS is lacking, and when they introduced Anomaly, it really showed when you try to fight Harvester and you need water units. It really showed how bad the like displacement between elements are in this game, because water is lacking very much. So hoping that, you know, at least Phantom is maybe as good as Quency, because Quency is a nice change of pace, and one of my favorite personal units of this year, not just because of looks obviously, but just because she's really well-rounded and is a fun character to use. I always said I love distributed damage, so for me, this has been a fun unit to use, especially in solo raid. And I'm probably gonna just make this a normal team that I use for my solo raids as just like an extra team, because it's really fun. But that's just me personally. And then she says a lot of offensive buffs to sell, a screen wiper with follow-up DPS and PvP. See, I'm interested to try to use her in PvP because I didn't know that. Constant damage output, basic attacks weigh similarly to Scarlet's. Drunken Scarlet is always gonna like start getting like constant like, you know, battles. But it is what it is. I think some people put too much harsh on her though. Some people say that like Drunken Scarlet fell off. I don't think she fell off necessarily. Like she got power crept, sure, but that doesn't really take away from how good she still is. But hey, in terms of the cons, due to having a lot of offensive buffs herself, she may not scale well with outside buffs, even if she can synergize with many support units. Requires an extreme amount of skill investment to work. Yep, she is a very needy gal. I know some people could say like probably minimum would be 477, but even then I still feel like 777 is still good to go, just as like a balance. But if anything, maybe do 41010, but I'm doing 777. You could do 477 if you want, but yeah, she needs a lot, especially good OL gear management. Requires an extreme amount of reload speed. Yep, she needs a lot of stuff for her to like be really good. In PvP, she fears Biscuit just like any other distributed damage dealer. See, I didn't know that for PvP. That's kind of cool. So there's like a whole different aspect of PvP that I really don't know about. And then this one is just random, but it made me laugh. Is her pose is doable, but you need to train yoga for years. It's like there's some drama like, is this like an impossible pose for her to do? But yeah, I guess it's doable after some years. I mean, I think this is fair. Overall, I think she's a really good character, and I think S is really good. You know, SS for PvP, even better for her. But S, I feel like is really appropriate. She's great. She's solid. But she's not like anything extraordinary, not meta groundbreaking, and I think that's fair. I would like to see more units in the game like this, not just, you know, meta breaking or just dog shit. I feel like this is good. Let me know your guys' thoughts. But what I want to do is actually pivot to the JP tier list so we can compare. Now, it's going to flashbang you, so I'm sorry. But when we look at the, you know, the tier list here, it's going to be radically different. So what I mean by that is that when we look at it, the, you know, strongest ranking is going to be S+. Her reroll ranking is going to be S. Boss battles is SS. Small battles are going to be S+, and then arena is S tier, which is interesting. And that might sound like, oh, that's pretty good, but like, how's the tier list look? As always, the tier list is always like different, because if we like go back and look, it goes from SSS, SS, S+, S, A+, and A. So it's radically different than what we're used to. And based on that, they're giving her an S for PvP, and I'm gonna be honest, I don't agree with that at all, because there are some units here that are really dog shit for PvP, and if we're comparing like burst 3s for PvP, like, I don't know why we have some characters here that like aren't that great for PvP like in here, but okay. And I just feel like it's too crowded. That's always my complaint with this. It's always too crowded, but overall, they're giving her an S+. S+ would put her here with, you know, Ray. You know, I feel like, me personally, I think some of these characters are way too good to be here. I feel like Winter Ludmilla, I feel like Summer Sakura really shouldn't be in the same spot as someone like Guillotine. I'm gonna be honest, but that's me personally. I just like to look at this and just like get a good idea and compare with other regions. I just think it's fun. But for now, that's gonna be it from me. Let me know your guys' thoughts. Were you happy with Quincy? Were you happy with this solo raid? Are you guys enjoying it? I'm personally enjoying the story a lot. I like it. It's easy to please me with a fun little story. And I really like Phantom. She seems really goofy, and I love her. I'm excited to pull for her. I don't think I'm going to invest that much, though, just because I really want to save my resources for the anniversary, because I really probably want to max out Cinderella if Cinderella is the character. But we'll see. I hope you guys have a lovely day, a lovely night, wherever you're from. And as always, thank you so much for the amount of support that you guys are giving me. I love all of you. So thank you.